Well, now we have a Christmas tree of junk. This is the wiring harness I pulled out into basically dash, gauges, main power stuff. There's one that goes across here. Those are mostly all alternator wires, and I just run them over there. I've got my left and right headlights and stuff in this business, and I think that all that down there is oil temperature sender and fan switch. So I kind of got all this laid out where it goes, and then all this rear stuff here is turn signals, tail lights, and fuel pump. I don't know what all's back here, but anyway, that's a next project, is to get that fuse block mounted there somewhere, and get power to it, battery cables run, and where I can turn on the key and have my starter work, and also energize my coil. I'm not trying to go much past that. I've got a bunch of wires here that are look like they got ends on them. Supposed to go, I guess that would be Chevy key looking stuff. I'm not sure what that is, but it looks like I ain't gonna need a lot of them wires. This is 26 circuits or something. I don't know. It's a lot better than the cheapest one, and probably got too many wires, but I only need fuel sending, brake light, and tail light back here. This looks like about what I got. And of course I got my left and right turn signals, and high and low beam, and here some kind of a temperature sending unit, some other stuff for the motor. I think this might have an oil pressure gauge wire in it. Anyway, at least I can just wire it up enough to where it's supposed to go, and enough so I can turn the key on and start it. And that'll also kind of tell me where all the wires are. So that's kind of the next project. I still have to put tail lights in it. Got me a couple of ooga horns there. Say the glue's bad, and the microphone fell off. They're loud. I tried that one, about deafened me. Anyway, so next step looks like basic wiring. And I started on my alternator. Only one place it'll go, and it's right there. Unless I want to put it up here. But got a couple inches clearing the frame. I've got my hot wire clear there. I'm right up against the frame here, against the block rather, but it looks like I've got just one piece of iron seat clamped onto it, and it looks to me like if I take another piece straight from the back, it'll go down there. So I have to make a little bushing there. Two pieces of straight metal. I've got an old trusty piece here. Using it for a pry bar for years. But that's long enough to make two good pieces to fit down in there. And hanging it in the right place. And our belts are going to line up good. Now I can figure out some kind of a brace after that. In the meantime, I can make myself a couple pieces to put in here and make myself a spacer and find bolts and stuff. At least I can get it hung roughly where it goes. Well, I got a couple brackets on it here, mostly lined up with a thing. Here's the old adjuster. I got a little play in it. Looks like I'm hitting the manifold here and frame there, so and it looks like it's moving away from the belt, so I'll probably tighten it. Don't know what I'll put on this. Probably need some kind of a flat plate with another bolt that'll go through this. That has to rub. I'm real close to my fan blades here. Anyway, that don't look too bad. I got plenty of room under there for my hot wire. Just have to make another kind of bracket here. Move on from there. Well, there we go. Took all day again. But got two braces here. I machined a little piece of metal there, so that's parallel. That's put my iron on top of that manifold there. And I'll cut off the adjuster brace. And it's plenty solid. It ain't moving at all. So that's a done deal. Have to make me a fuel pump block-off plate there. That'll be my next little project. But everything's clearing. I got wire clearance down at the maximum right now, so if I pull it up, it'll be tighter. Anyway, the alternator done. Well, here we go, backtracking. I had to rebore a hole here for the one bolt in the steering unit. Now I got all 4 bolts in it, and looks like my connection down here, looks like I can get a drill straight down through there, and I can put a lock bolt on that. I was thinking about welding it because it was so hard to get to, but now that I can get a drill down in there, I'll just drill it, put a bolt in that. I cleaned up some of the wells here. I cut this off so I can get my radiator hose past it. Cleaned up the wells that I couldn't get to. And then we can paint all of this area, which we couldn't get to. And then I've got to cut this radiator inlet, move it over about 30-40 degrees to the left so I can clear my stuff. put this all back together. Put some hoses on it. Alternator bracket looks good that I made. Plenty solid, so I can get belts and hoses. Get some water in it. I'm gonna start this thing pretty soon, maybe today. Well, there it is. All bolted in with grade 8 bolts. Was able to drill it by jacking it up. I cleaned this up and painted it. And this is all ready to get painted. I got a little welding I want to do right in there before I call this part quits. But that's the front end all bolted and solid now. I shouldn't have any slack in it at all. You know, here's the turn of the wheel, maybe an inch. Of course, this is not really tight. I don't know if you can see, but and a lot of this is in the wheel, but I have no observable slack anywhere in it, so it ought to steer really good with that rack and pinion. So that's nice to get this all kind of finally finished, and now I can get this cleaned up, get the radiator in it, and hoses, and bolt it up for keeps. Just take a little break from the rat rod. Here's some of the garden. This bougainvillea guys. I bought it a couple years ago, but it's starting to grow good. Got some rose bushes. The lilies opened up, a bunch of blooms there. There's a tequila sunrise rose. It's opening good. More lilies open. Got this purple thing here. Some daisies. I don't know, miniature rose. Got this plum tree last year. It's starting to grow. Or a fig tree rather. And I just got these as shoots. This is thornless raspberry and thorned raspberry or something, I don't know. There's Nastia's little. She got a whole big bowl of strawberries out of there today. Yeah, she's planting all kinds of stuff. Anyway, it's kind of nice looking at this after grinding rust and stuff. Have a little beauty in the life instead of just more work. Well, there it is. Kind of welded pretty good. Everything all cleaned up. Wire brush sanded. Ready for a coat of paint. And then we can move on to fixing that radiator. Well, here's the result. I managed to cut a wedge out of it, and it looks like it's gonna clear there. I tried to get some aluminum welding rod to patch it. I couldn't find any anywhere. So anyway, put the radiator back in. At least I can see now that I can make my radiator hoses work. And pull the shell off. I'm just trying to get a rust look here. We got some mahogany stain. I tried squirting it with a little bit of black paint and wiping the stain on it. Here's my last one. I just put some real rough flat black paint on it, and keep trying some of this mahogany stain. I'd like to kind of get it to match this. You know, we're a long ways away from having anything close right now, but I sort of got the general color of it, and as long as it's kind of random looking, it'll be alright. Well, here's kind of my result. Got a few cloth strokes in it there. Pretty random. And black paint, and this is a polyurethane mahogany stain. Look at the car in general. It's pretty close. I'll let all this dry. Got a lot of dirt and brush strokes and everything in it, but because it's polyurethane, it'll get pretty hard. And then I can kind of use a clean rag and go over it again. This side here turned out real good. It's about the same color as the rest of the car. I can fog it with black a little and tone it down, but there's some red in the car. There's a little red in that. Anyway, it's going to look a lot better than just blinding white. And it's glossy. And I'm going to clear coat the whole car, so the whole car will be glossy, and including this. Well, anyway, I'm pleased with how that turned out. I didn't know if I could even get it close, but it definitely looks like it's close. Well, here was another project I wasn't looking forward to. This thing had a plug in it, and I thought it was a 1-inch pipe thread plug, and it was. But the problem is that that's not what the pan is. It's close, but one's pipe thread and one's machine thread. So what I did, I took a 90 and I screwed in a short nipple there into the transmission and covered it with JB weld. So that's in that transmission pretty straight, or pretty strong, and it threaded pretty good. And then I taped the hell out of it and put a 90 and a machine nipple there that this thing here can go down into. You can see there it's just got a couple O-rings on it. I should have pulled it out with a stick in it. And that holds it down in there, and it shouldn't leak at all. And I was gonna space it off of the firewall here. I got a couple of Harley handlebar spacers, and then I got to look in there, and right there's my serial number. And I didn't want to put a spacer on top of that, so. And it's a little actually better for it to have it out here. It looks kind of dumb with one thing in it, but it works. It comes out, goes back in, and when it starts to go into the transmission, you can see here, it doesn't really want to go, but I got to kind of bend it in. It's going in. So, I don't look too bad. I'm kind of sticking up the same as the brake reservoir or something. Rat rod gets the oil somehow touching my valve cover a little right here, but that shouldn't hurt it too much. Bend it a little, I guess. But I got it in and pretty straight, and the thing is checking straight up and down. I don't know how much oil this thing is supposed to put. Drain the pan and torque converter anyway on a 63 out of a Cadillac. This is a 60. Drain the torque converter and the pan, and then you put 12 quarts in it and bring it up to operating temperature, and you add about another quart and a half to get it to the full mark. So what I'm going to do is I didn't drain the torque converter. It's a Taurus. I don't know what, it's probably got some in it, but I'm going to pour 12 quarts in it, and I don't think it should be that thing there from the bottom of the pan. Looks like it was like 1.5 inches or so. So once I put 12 quarts in it and run it, I'm going to take a guess is that should be at the low end, and just figure out where that is. Try to get the transmission to turn and jack up the rear wheels and see if it'll go into forward and reverse and stuff. And of course I got to hook up my lines here to the radiator here, or cooler. And these transmissions are supposed to be running at 180 degrees or a little bit warmer. So transmission cooler is more of a transmission heater than anything. But anyway, transmission's been a kind of a thing on my mind for quite some time. And now I got the drive line in, and I can fill it with oil, and we'll see. Might have leaks out of the back too. I don't know if that seal's any good. It went in pretty good, so maybe it won't leak. But leaks are something I'm going to have to deal with later for sure. Got a breather in there I got to do something with. I understand these oil gaskets are pretty bad. Still got to put got a bracket down there. That's where I'll throw that breather. I'll make it out of copper pipe. It'll look pretty good sticking out down there. And I got to plug that, those two places. I guess maybe I could hook that right into the water pump hole here. Rather not, because this is where the hot water coming out of it goes into the radiator, so that'd be better plug. Plug that one too. Anyway, moving along. We got the floorboards painted this barn red or rust red, whatever you want to call it. Put those in, put studs in. This turned out, it's real soft. You can notice I just did it with my fingernail there and took off some stuff. So I have to sand it real carefully and patch up any kind of colors and stuff I have here a little bit carefully, and let it dry. And this should look okay. I have to do that door still. Anyway, there's my transmission dipstick. Again, it took all day to do the damn thing.